Welcome YouTube Mastery members. This is Steve Pohlit. In this training session, we're going to review tips and tricks for adding YouTube video to a blog. There's a couple things that I do to make this process a little bit easier. Let's get started. We are now at one of my sites, which is prosperitytip.com. You can see that on the screen. And now let's go to YouTube, where I have already previewed and selected a video that I want to post to a new article on prosperitytip.com. There's the video. I'm going right to this code, which is the embed the video code, and I'm going to select all of that. I'm going to copy that, and the very next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to use an HTML editor. In this case, I'm using Microsoft Front Page, and I'm going to move this screen up just a little bit before we get started. Now, with Microsoft Front Page, when I open a new page to get started, the first thing that I do is I go to the code screen and I just delete any code that's in there. I want to start with a blank sheet. So now I'm going back to the original design, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a table. You're going to see why I do that in a few minutes. So I'm going to, it's off your screen, but I'm clicking on Table, Insert Table, and up pops this screen, and what I want is, in this particular table, I want one row and I want one column. Now, your particular HTML editor may be set up just slightly different, but probably not too much different. I want to left justify this table. I don't want any borders, and I'm just going to click collapse table border just to be doubly sure. And so now I have all my settings correct, and I click OK. So now what I'm going to do is I have this, I'm not sure if you can see it, but this table was stretched all the way across the screen, and what I'm doing is I'm simply positioning this empty table to be a little bit smaller, because I'm mentally imagining the size of the space that I have on the blog post. That's what we're doing right here. We're going to post the code from YouTube into this specific space, and that's going to help the post on the blog appear in the right format for the reader. So now I have my table resized, and I'm just going to point to it. It's right there. Okay, now I'm going to click inside that table, and I'm now going to go to the code for this particular table. And there's the code. There's my cursor. I want to click right there, and I want to paste the code from YouTube. So at this point now I'm going to return to the design screen, and you can see this area here. You won't see the video, but you can tell that it is there. Okay, now before I leave this particular page for the next step, I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to go back to the code screen, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll over here. Let me adjust the screen for you so you can see that. You see where it says width and height? Okay, I'm going to make that a little bit smaller. I'm going to make that 350, and I'm going to make this 270. Okay? So now I've made the size of the video just a little bit smaller, and that's going to also help me in my presentation for my blog. So now let's go to the let's go back to the blog, and I'm going to continue to try to remember to adjust this screen for you so you can see most of everything that I'm doing anyway, hopefully. And I'm going to scroll all the way down to where I go to my site administration or the back end of this blog. Okay, so now I'm there, and what I'm going to do is I am this is a WordPress backend for this particular blog. If you're using another blog template, for example, Typepad or Blogspot or something like that, it may be a little bit different. This is WordPress, and so I'm going to write a new blog post. Okay, so I click on write, and now up comes the screen for me to enter a new blog post. Now I'm going to add some text. I'm not going to have you wait while I write all that material. What I want to do is I want to add that code. So here you can see I have visual and code editing. I want the code editing. So with that, I'm going back to the front page editor. I'm clicking on code. I'm going to copy all of the code. I'm just going to copy all the code, and then I'm going back to my blog where I'm going to enter my post, and I'm just going to paste that code right in here. Okay, and there it is. You can see the code. Now I'm going to do a visual check on that pasting. I click visual, and I don't see anything, which is actually a pretty good sign. So in a few minutes we're going to test to see what that looks like, but first I'm going to take a few minutes and I'm going to add some text to this particular post so you can see the finished product. So I'm going to pause this while I add text, and we'll pick up in a few minutes.